welcome back to my channel. This is Kari with Crochet Me Knots. We're going to be making our bag dispenser today, and this is what we're going to need. I'm going to use about a skein and a half of this. This I actually got at Dollar Tree. For this project, you really don't have to have a because it's not a wearable, since we're doing a bag. It doesn't have to be like top-notch, top quality yarn, and actually this yarn is not bad. So this is an acrylic yarn from Dollar Tree, and it's 109 yards, so it's 50 grams. And I used about a whole skein and a half of this, so just make sure you have enough for the project that we're going to be making today. We're going to need an elastic band, like a hair band, like just a regular one. I'm going to be using 3 little wooden beads. You can have a different size, different colors, whatever you want, but I'm going to be making that for the little tassel. And I'm going to be using a 5mm hook. We're going to need a tapestry needle and a pair of scissors. Alright guys, so let's get everything we need and let's get started. Alright guys, so to get started, we are going to join our yarn to the elastic band. So go ahead and do that really quick. And we are gonna chain 2. Now this chain 2 is not gonna count as a stitch. So we're gonna work a total of 32 double crochets into the elastic band. So go ahead and start working your double crochets, and I'm going to crochet over the tail just to make it easier on myself so I don't have to weave it in at the end. So go ahead and crochet your 32 double crochets all the way around. So for round 1, we're going to have a total of 32 double crochets, and I'll meet you here. Okay guys, so I'm at the end of round 1. I have my 32 double crochets, and we start, if you notice your band showing through, just kind of, scooting them along. That way you don't see it. They're easy to manage, so that way it's nice and hidden there. Alright, so 32 double crochets, and we are going to join to the top of that first double crochet with a slip stitch. And we are going to start round 2. So round 2, we're going to chain 2, and again that doesn't count as a stitch. We're going to work an increase on that first stitch, so we're going to work 2 double crochets into that first stitch, and then we're going to work 1 double crochet in the next, and that is the repeat. So work an increase in the next stitch, 2 double crochets, and 1 double crochet in the next. So keep going. Round 2 is going to be work an increase, 2 double crochets followed by 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, and continue all the way around, and at the end of round 2 you'll have 48 double crochets. Okay guys, so we're at the end of round 2. You should finish with 1 double crochet. Now if you're finishing on your last stitch with 2 double crochets, an increase, maybe you work something wrong in the round, and make sure you go back and count. So do count your stitches at the end of the rounds. That way if you made a mistake, you can catch it when you make it, and you don't have to, rip everything apart, pull everything apart, and have to go back to fix the mistake. So now at the end, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch on the top of that double crochet. Okay, so now we are going to chain 2. Again, that does not count as a stitch, and we are going to crochet a double crochet into that same stitch, and 1 in each stitch around. So we're just going to work double crochets in each stitch, and this is the start of round 3. So rounds 3 through 6, we are going to work just 1 double crochet in each stitch. So each round will have 48 double crochets. So continue to work round 3 through 6, and remember to count your stitches after each round. That way if you made a mistake, you can correct it right then and there. So 1 double crochet in each stitch for rounds 3 through 6, and I'll meet you back here at the end of round 6. Alright guys, so here we are at the end of round 6. So we are going to join with a slip stitch, and we get started on round number 7. So that's what it starts to look like. All right, so for round number 7, we're going to go ahead and chain 1, and we are going to single crochet into that same stitch. Okay, so now we are going to skip the next 3, 1, 2, 3. On that next stitch, we're going to work a shell stitch, which is 7 double crochets. So we're going to work 7 double crochets into that stitch. And 7. Okay. So now we are going to skip the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and on that 4th one, we are going to work a single crochet. So skip 1, 2, 3, and on the following one, you work a single crochet. So that's the repeat for round number 7. Skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and on that next one, you're going to work a shell stitch. So work your 7 double crochets. And then skip 1, 2, 3, and work a single crochet. Okay guys, so go ahead and continue that all the way around. Work the shell stitch, skip 3 stitches, and then work a single, skip 3, work a shell, skip 3, work a single, and I'll meet you back here at the end of round 7. Okay guys, so at the end of round number 7, that's what it looks like. I just crocheted the shell stitch and I have 3 stitches left on the round, and I am just going to slip stitch onto the top of that first single crochet that we crocheted at the beginning of the round. So you should have 6 of those little shell stitches. Okay, so now to start round number 8, so I should let you know that the repeat for the remainder of the bag of the dispenser is going to be repeats of starting round 8. So if you want to make a note on the time on the video, if you want to go ahead and bookmark the time, that way you can come back to it if you need to revisit the repeat that we're going to have for the rest of the bag. All right, so here's the start of round number 8. So once we slip stitch, we are going to chain 4, and into that same stitch we're going to work a V-stitch. So what the V-stitch consists of is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So this chain 4 is going to count as a double crochet plus our chain 1, and now we're going to go back into the same stitch and work a double crochet, and that is our V-stitch. Okay, so now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to single crochet on top here of the shell. So right here in the center, go ahead and single crochet, chain 2, and right here into that single crochet in between those 2 shells, we're going to work a V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, and into that same stitch, go right back into the stitch, work another double crochet, and that's your V-stitch right there. Chain 2, and work a single in the center on the top of that shell stitch. Chain 2, and that is the repeat. So again, work a V-stitch on that single crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in that same stitch. Chain 2, and then single crochet here on top of the shell. Alright, so continue that all the way around, and I'll meet you here at the end of round 8. Alright, so here we are at the end of round 8. I've just completed my last V-stitch, chain 2, and I'm a single crochet on top of that shell stitch in the center. and I am going to chain 2, and I am going to finish by joining, and I am going to slip stitch into the space that we created there with that chain 4. So slip stitch into that space, and that is the end of round 8. Alright guys, so for round number 9 we're going to chain 3, and into this space we're going to work 6 more double crochet. So we're going to work a shell, okay, so that chain 3 counts as a double crochet. That's 7. And then we're going to go ahead and just go on to that single crochet that we just crocheted on top of that shell, and just single crochet right on top of that one. And then into that middle, we're not going to chain in between. So into that chain 1 space of our V-stitch, we're going to work a shell. So work your double crochets. One more. Okay, so you do your shell, and then single crochet on top of that single crochet. And that's a repeat for round number 9. So continue the rest of the way, and I'll meet you back here for the end of round number 9. Okay guys, so we are at the end of round number 9, and I just worked the shell stitch, and I am going to slip stitch onto, I worked the shell stitch, so I'm going to go ahead and work my single crochet, and then to join, I'm going to join to the top of that chain 3 from the beginning of our round. So just go ahead and slip stitch there. Now to continue, we need to get onto the middle, to the center of that shell stitch. So we are going to slip stitch into our next 3 chains. So go ahead and next double crochets, so slip stitch there on the next one and on the next one. All right, now go ahead and chain 1, and we are going to single crochet into that same stitch. So single crochet, now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to go to work a V-stitch here on that single crochet. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 2, and we're going to jump on over to the center here and work a single crochet, chain 2, and we're going to work a V-stitch on that single crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 2, and then single crochet on top of that shell stitch. All right, so continue that, repeat all the way around, and I'll see you back here at the end of round number 10. Okay, so we are at the end of round number 10. So I've just worked my single crochet, chain 2, and now I'm going to work that V-stitch here at the last single, and we are going to chain 2, and we are going to slip stitch right on top of that first single crochet there. So slip stitch, here we go. Now we're going to chain 1, and we are going to single crochet right back into the same stitch. Now we're going to go ahead and jump on over to that V-stitch, and into that chain 1 space we're going to work our shell stitch. So that's our 7 double crochets. Ooh. Let's try that one again. Okay, we have our 7, and we're going to go ahead and single crochet on top of that single crochet. And that's the repeat for this round. So for round number 11, you're going to go ahead and work a shell stitch into that chain 1 space of our V-stitch of the previous round. So you work your 7 double crochets. And then a single on top of that single. Okay, so that is the repeat for round
Continúen con
11.
esa repetición el resto de la vuelta.
At the end of round 11. Alright, so here we are at the end of round 11. So just work that shell stitch, and right here on top of that single crochet, I'm going to go ahead and join with a slip stitch. Okay, very nice. So now what we're going to do is for rounds 12 through 27, you're going to be repeating rounds 8 through 11. So go ahead and repeat rounds 8 through 11 for the remainder of the dispenser of the bag. That's how long I made mine. If when you get to round number 27 you think it's too short for you, then go ahead and continue the repeat until you get your desired length. But keep in mind that we do have to finish the top part of the dispenser. So that's about, I would say about 5 or 6 rounds at the end. So just make sure that you compensate for that. I mean, there's no right or wrong size for these. So just for my own preference, I did 27 rounds of this repeat. So again, just whatever you prefer to do. So alright guys, so here we are. I just finished round number 27. And this is how long it is so far. If you choose to make it longer, just continue to repeat, like I said, rounds 8 through 11 as long as you want it. This is a good size because it does kind of stretch when you hang it and when you load it with the bags. Plus we need to finish it, which is about another 5 or 6 rounds that we need to finish. So this to me was a good size, but it's up to you. All right, so this is the end of round number 27, and you should have finished with the repeat of round 11, which was the single crochet, work a shell stitch, single crochet, work a shell stitch into the V's. So that was the repeat of round 11. All right, so for round number 28, we're going to repeat round number 8, and that is going to be our chain 4. So we're going to work our V-stitch here. Chain 2, single crochet into that V-stitch, chain 2, and then work the V-stitch. So we're going to repeat round number 8 one more time. And that is what we're going to do for round number 28. So go ahead and continue that. So repeat round number 8 up here for round 28, and then I'll be back to see you at the end of round 28. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 28. So I'm going to finish with the chain 2. And we're just going to join, slip stitch into that chain 1 space. And that's what that's going to start looking like. So we just needed to get around where it was flat, straight, without the shells. Okay, so for round 29, we're going to chain 3, and that's going to count as a double crochet, and we're going to go right back into that chain 1 space and double crochet once more. So we have, that counts as a double crochet, so we have 2 double crochets into that chain 1 space. Now we're going to jump on over to that chain 2 space, and we're going to work 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space. And now we have our single crochet, so into that stitch we're going to work 2 double crochets. Brings us over to that chain 2 space. We're going to work 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space. And we're back to the V-stitch. And we're going to work 2 double crochets in that chain 1 space. And that is the repeat. So now work over to the chain 2 space, work 2 doubles. We're at the single crochet, work 2 doubles into that single crochet, and so on. Alright, so continue that repeat all the way around, and at the end of this round, number 29, we're going to have 48 double crochets, and I'll meet you back here at the end of round 29. Alright, so I'm coming up to the end of round 29 here, and I'm going to work the last 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space. And now we're going to join to the top of that chain 3, and make sure you count. So just slip stitch into that top chain of that chain 3, single crochet, double crochet into all of the stitches. So we are going to chain 2. That doesn't count as a double crochet. And then we're going to go ahead and double crochet into that same stitch. And then we're going to double crochet in every stitch around. All right, so this is the beginning of round 30. So round 30 through 32, so the next 3 rounds you're going to work just 1 double crochet in each round, and make sure you always have 48 double crochets. Okay, so I'll meet you back here at the end of round number 32. Alright guys, so here we go. We are at the end of round 32. So we're just going to go ahead and slip stitch onto the top of that first double. And we are going to start the next round. So we're going to chain 1. And we are going to go right back into that same stitch. And we're just going to slip stitch and chain 1. Go on to the next one. We're going to slip stitch and chain 1. Go on to the next stitch. Slip stitch, chain 1. So that's going to be our little edge for the top. So go ahead and continue each stitch. You slip stitch and chain 1. Slip and chain 1. Slip stitch and chain 1. All right, so go ahead and continue that, and I'll meet you back here at the end of round 33. All right guys, I'm coming up to the end of round 33. So we're going to do our slip stitch, chain 1, and when we get to that last stitch, we have to make the loop that we used to hang it. So go ahead and slip stitch into that space, into that stitch, and go ahead and chain 6. And then we're going to come right back down and slip stitch into that. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and chain 1, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna turn, because I do want to crochet. We're gonna single crochet 10 single crochets into that loop. So you chain 1, turn, so go ahead and single crochet 10 single crochets. All right, so there we go. So then we're just going to come right back down, and we're going to slip stitch into that same stitch we came out of. There we go. And now we can cut. There we go. We have a little loop there. All right, and then you can go ahead and, so just fasten off and then weave in that end. So that is the end of the bag. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so now what we need to do next is we need to make the tassel that goes in the front. Let's go in and make a tassel. You can use a book. I like to use a book because it's sturdier, but you can use a book, you can use a piece of cardboard, you can use your hand, whatever you prefer to make the tassel. So I'm just gonna unravel, pull some yarn from my skein, and we want to make this tassel nice and full. We don't want it to be too skinny because the bag is long. So, but make sure you get your wooden beads. So you need 3 wooden beads, your tapestry needle, and a pair of scissors. Alrighty, so we're just going to start wrapping the yarn around the book or your hand or the cardboard, whatever you're using. So just make it as full as you want. There's no right or wrong. I just don't like my tassel to be too thin, too thinned out. So I think that should be good. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And I lost my skein. All right. So before I remove that off the book, I'm going to cut a piece of the yarn. So cut a long enough piece. There we go. And then let's go ahead and pull this off our book. All right, so go ahead and hang on to it like that, and then let's just go ahead and cut the bottom part. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to lay our across that piece of yarn we cut. This guy, there we go. And then we're just going to tie it. Make sure it's centered. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to trim the end of the tassel to make it nice and even. So just make a knot. All right, so let's grab it. I just dropped down the ends of that yarn back down into the tassel. All right, so we're just going to clean it up a little bit. And we're going to cut another long piece of the yarn to wrap around. Okay, so now to secure, we're gonna, I always forget the name of this knot, but if you do macrame, then you're familiar with it. So we're gonna grab the end, we're gonna hold on to that there, we're gonna make a little loop like this, hold on to it, and then we're gonna start wrapping. So just start wrapping it around. Nice and even. And once we have it, that's a good, what we're going to do is we're going to feed this through that loop. And then we're going to grab this end here, and we're going to grab that bottom part too, but we're going to start pulling this, and then pull this, and it'll be tucked under that part that we just wrapped. So make sure it doesn't come out the top. Make sure you don't pull it out the top. All right, and then you can cut this at the quick. So you can cut this. Very nice. And you can just let the other part fall down. There we go. All right, so we're going to trim this later, but I do want to use, if you do have a long piece of that, it makes it easier to, I'm going to attach it to my yarn needle. And I'm just going to feed it right under there. And I'm going to try and have it pop up the top here. There we go. So don't pull it. Too crazy, because you don't want to, but there we go. And I'm just going to there, I'm trying to find, there we go. Just slide it under and make another little knot at the top there. Okay, and now we're gonna slide our beads into it. I like to do the big one first, but you can do any order. I don't know what size beads you got, but slide these. Do it like that. But now we can kind of clean this up a bit. I'm going to get a bigger pair of scissors to clean the tassel up. That way you have just make it nice and even. It doesn't have to be perfect. And if the top here is weird, you can start to kind of like pull it so it'll be nice, and fix any little loop that's all right. So now grab your bag, and we need to attach it to our bag. So now let's take our bag, see, it's nice. All right, so before we do that, I think I should leave that. I'm gonna see which side looks better. I think that should be, so you can, that's the back, that should be the front. So just check out your tassel, what looks better there. So the middle, you'll see your loop back here. So that's the center of the bag, which is usually the center. You have the shell stitch and you have that single crochet there. So I think I am gonna go into that single crochet there. Go in there a couple times. I'm going to go again, and this time I'm going to make a little knot like that. And there we go. And that's on. Okay. You can leave those little guys in there. And that is what the bag looks like. A little tassel. And you just fill your bags in there, and then you just pull them out through the bottom. So there you go, guys. I'm going to do that off camera, but I think this is a really cute project for Mother's Day if you want to give your mom something cute, handmade for her kitchen. There you go. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure that your notifications are on so you receive notifications, alerts on new videos that are uploaded to my channel. I try to upload every week or so. So take care, you guys. And oh, also, if you make this bag and you want to tag me, I am on Instagram. My IG is Crochet Me Knots. So go ahead and tag your photos on Instagram and let me see how your bag dispensers came out. So if you make it, don't forget, tag me on Instagram. But you guys take care, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.